Hello, welcome back. Last week we did a development of a project that painted the screen with random colors and line lengths, and I muddled my way through that one. So I'm reposting. I'm going to redo it, and I'm going to repost it as part 30 again. And hopefully this time things will go much smoother and we will make a few corrections to the old code. So bear with me. We're going to start up Lazarus. And this is random squares, which is not what we're going to be doing today. That's a future project we're going to do. So we want to close this one and have a new one, and it's an application. Yes, and here's our starting form. I just stretched it, so it's going to say that it's been changed, and it does. And this project is going to do the same thing again, except that this time we're going to do things a little differently. Now, last time, the first thing I wanted to do was to use this canvas and display text on it, which is what we're going to do again. And the last time we did it, I had a heck of a time getting it to display. Well, I've uncovered maybe a better way of doing it, and that involves using a timer. So let's take a look. Since this is the only thing we're going to have on our form except for the timer, we can go ahead and start looking at the code. And this is our initial code. And we're going to create a couple of procedures. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to try drawing text. So right here in the private part of the form, we're going to put in a procedure, and we're going to call this procedure draw text. And of course, a procedure does not return a value. And we're going to pass it the coordinates on the screen where we're going to actually display the text. So those are coordinates x and y, and they're integers. And then we're going to put the message that we're going to display on the screen, and it's going to be passed as a string. And that's it. Okay? So now down here in our implementation, right below the form that's included, the resource, let's see, home, okay. Now, since draw text is a member procedure of the Form 1 class, we're going to have to say procedure tform 1 dot draw text. Okay, and there it is. And we have to supply the same parameters that are being passed as we indicated up above in the prototype. I call that a prototype. Okay. All right. And of course it has a beginning and an ending. All right, let's take a look here. And here we go. Doesn't have any variables in it because we're supplying everything that we need in the parameter list to the procedure. Now here's a little trick that I cut out. The last time I did this, I cut this out, and we're dealing with Form 1. So all the stuff we're going to deal with here is on Form 1. So what we can do is we can say with Form 1 do begin. Now what that does is that it'll automatically put Form 1 dot in front of anything that would use it. So now we can say canvas. So this is the canvas of Form 1, and we're going to manipulate the font that's on that form, and we're going to manipulate the font's color, right? And we're going to set it equal to something. So I'm going to use the color. Now if you go over here and you look at colors on Form 1, they have a color selector, okay? We're not going to use that. But they also have a list of predefined colors. And you notice up here, this one called CL window text, it's black, basically. You could use CL menu text if you want. You could use CL active option. There's a bunch of them that are very dark. All right. Well, we're going to use, excuse me, we're going to use CL window text in this case. All right. So right here, we're going to say CL window text. That. All right. All right. Now the next thing on the canvas that we're going to play with is the font size. So again, we have canvas. I think you know what we can do? I think we can eliminate the word canvas. I think we can eliminate the word canvas. Can't we just say dot canvas? Let's see if that works. I think that works. You see what that does? Okay, we don't need canvas. We're going to say font size. So we're going to say the font size. And we're going to, oh, now let's see, let's just go back and type in dot S. There it is, size. Okay, I just wanted to see that code completion was working. All right, so we're just going to set it at 16. I think that's 16 point size. All right. Well, let's see. If we rest on size, what does it say that is? The size is an integer property which contains the height of the font in points. The value in size is calculated using logical font height and is not read or written in CL components streaming. Okay. So I think that's what we wanted, right? So we got the font, the size, and the color. Now let's see about the font style. Here it is, font style. And what can font style be? I think it can be a bunch of different things. Okay. Yeah, if you look right here, it says it can be, font style can be a set. So it can be FS bold, FS italic, underline, and strikeout. It can be any of those or all of them. So let's set the font style. We'll say it's FS bold and FS italic. There you go. Okay, that's the style. Now we're going to actually do the writing of it. So we're going to say, first of all, we're going to say if so if the value of let's see, if the value of x is, so we're going to have this special case. If x is set to 0 and y is set equal to 0, and I got to learn to type, and y is equal to 0, then we're going to do something a little special. All right. Put the end in for me. All right. Now we're going to do something special. We're going to actually compute an x in that case. So we're going to say if they were both 0, then we're going to set x equal to the client width. Now client width, I think, is the full width of the screen. Client width. We used a different width. We used canvas width the last time, and it didn't, for some reason, it didn't quite seem centered. So now we need to get the width of the text that we're printing. Okay. Now the way you do that is you use text width and then the width of the text. You supply it the text like this. Okay. And we have to, okay, and this, we have to come, okay. So we're going to take the value of all that and we're going to divide it by 2. So you see what that did? It took the width of the text message, subtracted it from the client width, and that the difference is divided by 2, and that should give us where to put the text so that it's centered in the width of the screen, all right, or the width of the window, rather, all right. Now we got to do the same for y. Now we're going to deal with the height. And again, this is the height of the message now. We're going to also take that difference and divide it by 2. There we go. Now it only happens when we pass it 0 for the x and y. Otherwise, it will put it exactly where we've told it. So now we do a text out. At the x and y that was either supplied or that we've computed, and give it the message. And now it will put that out on the screen. All right, that's it. So we can actually try that out by running a test. Now, what's going to trigger outputting that message? I used on paint in the previous example, and it did work. And it put it on there immediately when the form was displayed, because that's an on paint event. But I don't want to do it that way. I want to have it do it whenever I want. So here we have our form, and we are going to do it basically when the form is displayed, but now we're going to use a timer event to trigger it. So we got to get a timer. So here are the tabs for the various controls that we can put on the form. And let's see here, I want a timer event. Is that common controls? Let's see here. I thought it was additional, but I don't see a timer there. Common controls, I don't see the timer there. It's not going to be dialogues. Is it data controls? No. Dialogues? No. I must be missing it. I thought there was a timer event. System. There it is. Okay, so here's a timer right here. This is an idle timer. This is the timer. So I'll click that and put that on our form. There it is. Now this timer thing won't show up on the form. It doesn't have a physical presence on the form. All right. Now let's take a look over here at timer. Currently timer is enabled and it has an interval of 1,000. Now that interval is in milliseconds. So in other words, it's enabled. When the form is shown, the timer will be started. And then in 1,000 milliseconds, it will trigger a timer event. That's what that means. Well, we're going to shorten that up. We're going to make that 10 milliseconds. That will be so fast, it will appear to happen immediately when the form is displayed. So that's what that is. All right. And so it is selected because the little positioning handles are being displayed on it, and it is also highlighted up here in the object inspector right there. Okay, so we've selected the timer, and now we're going to have an event. We need an event. So we're just going to say on timer. In other words, when the timer triggers, we're going to do this. So you just go into this box and double click it. And now we have our procedure created for the timer. All right, so here on timer, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to disable the timer. So we say timer enabled is equal to false. So we just shut the timer off. So now it can't trigger again because, 10 milliseconds is not long. It's going to trigger every 10 milliseconds. So the first thing we have to do when it triggers is to shut it off. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw text 0, 0, and we're going to output canvas text. And we better make that text. Like that. Okay. And that's all it does. So in other words, when our screen is displayed, 10 milliseconds will pass. It will draw canvas text. And since we passed it an X and Y of 0 in this case, then it will output it centered in the screen. Okay. And I think we have enough to test that right now. So we're going to run it. And we're going to tell it, yes, we're going to use that. It's it's actually timer 1, isn't it? It's not timer. I left the 1 off. Save that. Oh, since we already have a project 1 in this Oh, and we're in the random square directory. I don't even want to be there. So I want to go, we're doing this in YouTube code. And in YouTube code, we already have a project 1, so we're going to name this project 2 and save it. Okay. And we're going to call this Unit 2 because there's already a Unit 1 from a previous project out there. So this is going to be Unit 2. All right. It's renamed our Unit 2, right? And if I look at the, we're just going to look at the source code for the project, view project source, and you can see now it's named project 2 here, and it's referencing our Unit 2 right here in the uses clause. So we're all set. This is all, that's all fine. Now we should be able to run this. Project 2 raised an exception, external unknown exception, code 8. Creates an exception. Normally GDB does not catch exception objects, therefore this procedure raises standard division by 0. So we have what, a division by 0, or is this some misleading thing? Well, did it stop me? Raised exception class with a message, division by 0. Division by 0, but this isn't, it's happening in the tracer. It's very misleading, isn't it? We have a division by 0. I didn't divide by 0. Oh, I wonder what's happening with client with. Let's see when this happens. So let's set a trap. We're going to set a trap at line 42. See, if this came out to be 0, no, that still wouldn't be a division by 0, would it? Well, if this triggers, then the event happens after this. We'll see. Let's run it. We've got to stop it first. Okay, we're trapped right here at the moment. And I'm hovering on X and it's saying X is 0. And I'm hovering on Y and it says Y is 0. And I'm hovering on client width. Of course, it's not going to tell me what the width is. Let's hit F8 and proceed to the next step. And I'm going to hit F8 again. No, what's X computed here? X is computed as 651. And Y is computed as 592. And we're going to output our message at X and Y. Okay, let's hit an F9 and look at our window. Well, that's interesting. Okay. It disappeared, didn't it? I saw something here. Let's kill this debugging thing. And let's try this again. You notice we did not have a failure that time. We did not have a divide by zero that time. Let's run it again and see what happens. Now we get a divide by zero error. Isn't that interesting? F9, continue. Our form displayed, but our text didn't. Well, it's time for me to take a break and see what's going on, because I had this all working. I'll be back in a minute. See you later. Oh, hi, I'm back. And I've got it working. And the only thing that I did was I made a few changes trying to find out what was going on. And I was kind of getting mixed results. And I just decided to set everything back to where it was, and I clicked, and I saved everything. I went up here and I clicked the save everything deal right here. It would be the same as pressing a Control-Shift-S, right? And I recompiled everything. I went up here and I did a run and I did a build, just like that. And I got a clean, nice green result down here, right? And I decided, well, I'll run it and let's see what happens. So I clicked run. It worked perfectly, just like you see here. So what happened? I have no idea. It's kind of concerning, to say the least. Now if I drag this form, yeah, it follows it. What if I were to just change the size of the form? See. So that draw event only happens when you change this. That only happens when the form is, the timer initially triggers after form display. Okay, so let's close this form. I also went over here and played around with this time. I reduced it to 1 millisecond, okay? 1,000th of a second. Save it. Let's run it. Worked perfectly. I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell if that didn't happen immediately, right? Okay. So that draws the text using a timer. That's the first time we've used a timer. So you can see how that works. The next step is for us to draw patterns. And that's what we did. That's what the actual target for the project is to draw random colors on the screen. So we're going to set up some constants here before our variables for the T form. Now we can do it after the variables for the T form for that matter, and we can do it inside of implementation. We can do that. So these are going to be constants that we're going to use in our application, and this eliminates having magic numbers. So we're going to say the maximum size of the pen, maximum pen size, that's an integer, and we're going to set it equal to 16. So in other words, 16 pixels is the maximum size of the pen. We're also going to have a maximum line segment length. Okay. Integer. And we're gonna set that equal to 16,000 segments. And now we're going to have a minimum pen size. That's an integer. And we're going to set that to 500. No, I'm sorry. Minimum pen size is going to be 500. It's going to be 2. And then we're going to have a minimum segment length. Segment. And that's an integer. And that's going to be 500. Now we're also going to have some variables here, and one of them is going to be draw. And draw is Boolean, and its initial value is going to be false. And we're going to have a position. This is going to be the current, current x, which is an integer. We're going to have a current y position on the screen, integer. Currently these are not set to anything. And we're going to have a randomized Boolean, and it's initially set to false, not flash. False. Okay. All right. Very good. Now when the form is initially clicked, so when the screen is first displayed, nothing's going to happen. Now I've just selected the form, and let's look at what we've got here. When this form is initially displayed, I think what I want is, I want it to be maximized. So that would be the Windows state, the very last property. It's initially set to normal. I want it to be displayed maximized. So we're gonna select maximized. Let's save that change. Let's see what happens now when we run this. Oh, look at that. We're back to getting this division by 0 error again. I've never had this happen before. Let's try this again. I got it again. I want to stop running. Save everything. Run it. Oh boy. And all I did was change it to maximize, right? Let's stop the run. I don't want to look at that code. It's happening in their code, believe it or not. It's getting triggered in their code. Set it back to normal. Save everything. Let's try running it. Oh, I'm getting the error again. There is something unstable happening here. Something unstable. If I do a build, and then I do a run, no, I'm getting the error. Well,
a few moments later.
the problem is with the timer. Duration, I think. I think that's the problem. Let's play with it again. Okay, we're going to take the timer interval. We're going to reduce it to 10 milliseconds. Right? Tab out of that. I'm going to move down to here. Move over. Okay, so that change was taken. I saved it. Let's try running it. Ah, look at that. Now it's not displaying Canvas text in the middle of our form. Now when that event triggers, I do immediately disable the timer. It's like it didn't have time to draw the text. I mean, I didn't have time to draw the text. That's really something, isn't it? Did I leave it running? No, it's not. Let's try it one more time at 10 milliseconds. No, now I'm getting an error. I'm getting that divide by zero error now. Let's try 50 milliseconds. Let's save that. I'm just going to build it. Got it green. Going to run it now. It didn't have time to display it. Isn't that weird? It's like it triggered another time. Look at that. Didn't display it. See, we're near an edge. I'm not getting the error, but I'm not getting my text displayed either. Look at that. Let's change that to 75 milliseconds. This is ridiculous. Now it's not displaying it. It's still not displaying it. 100 milliseconds. 1/10 of a second. Save it. Run it. Look at that. Now isn't that something? Let's make sure it keeps running. Oh, it doesn't. What on earth is going on? I mean, you're watching this just like I am. Half a second? Okay. Get out of that field. Save it. Run it. Now you see there's a half a second delay. Wow. So let's close it and see. I mean, you can actually see the form display and then a delay and then the text. See, look at that. It's working every time now. Now it's working every time. I have to have a half a second delay. Let's cut this down now to 250 milliseconds. Save everything. Run it. It's working. Let's try it again. Worked. Try it again. Worked. Let's try it one more time. Worked. Let's go down to 200 milliseconds. Let's enter. Save everything. Run. Worked. 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 Try it one more time. Make sure it works. It worked. Okay, let's go to 150 milliseconds. Hit enter. Save it. Run it. It worked. Try it again. Worked. Try it again. It worked. One more time. Worked. Okay. We were getting failures at 100 milliseconds, remember? Right? Hit enter. Save everything. Run it. It worked. Try it again. It was failing at this point before. It worked. Try it a few more times just to, make sure I'm not going crazy here. Worked. It worked. We were getting failures at 100 milliseconds. Excuse me. Now we're not. It's working fine. We were definitely getting failures at 75 milliseconds, right? Let's go back. We're at 75 milliseconds. Hit enter. Save it. It's working. Try it again. Run, I think, recompiles every time, by the way. It's worked again, second time. This was failing. Third time. Fourth time. Fifth time. Okay, let's cut her back down. Let's go to 50 milliseconds. Save everything. Failed. 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 So it's at some kind of a problem with the interval. So take it back up to 75 milliseconds where it seemed to be working fine. Save it. Now, do you see that? It was working reliably at 75 milliseconds. Now it is not. Now it just worked. So this is the third time in the third time I've run it, and the second time it's worked. So are we in an edge condition? Third time it's worked out of 4. Fourth time it's worked out of 5. The fifth time it's worked out of 6. The sixth time it's worked out of 7 tries. This is just weird. Well, it's working at 75 milliseconds. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go any further with it. I'm gonna leave it. I think what I'm gonna do is play it safe and leave it at 100 milliseconds. Okay, and let's say we're happy with that. All right. Let's go back to our form. We're not running, are we? No, I don't think we're running. No. We're gonna now we gotta select the form. Select the form, and we're gonna pick an event. It's gonna be form click. Right here, this is going to be the event we're going to create. Double click in here. Now we've got our form click event. At this point, we're going to see if randomized is true. And we're going to say if not randomized, then it's going to have to be a then begin. Let's make that a begin. And we're going to randomize. Now, we didn't do that in the previous attempt at this project. But what this is going to do is it's going to probably use a combination of the system time and date to create a seed in the random number generator. If you run a random number generator over and over and over again and you don't randomize it, it's going to produce the same stream of random numbers again. But if I use randomize, then each time I run it, it will produce a different stream of random numbers. It's actually going to pick a different spot in the stream, I believe. Because if you randomize it with a same seed every time, then it's going to produce that same set of random numbers. Well, in our project here, we just want to randomize it so that if we run it 3 times in a row, it's going to pick a different pattern of line segments and colors each time. So when we click the form, the first thing it's going to do, see, did I randomize? That's what it's going to say. Did I randomize? And if I didn't, then I will. All right. So a second form click will not randomize. That's what that comes down to. All right. The next thing it's going to check to see is if it's drawing. So currently draw, you know, I make that drawing. Make that drawing. That's better. So drawing is either true or false, and then down here we're going to say if we're not drawing, then we're going to do some things. All right? That's what that says. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the starting drawing point to a random spot. So we're going to set current x equal to a random point. We're going to set it to a random point, and it's going to be the client width. Okay. And we're going to set the current y equal to a random number, based on the client's height, right? So it's going to create a random number between 0 and the client width minus 1. Random, by the way, that returns an integer value. You can see here in that little pop-up it says function random is returning a long int, and you can pass it a long int. All right, so it will come up with a random number between 0 and the client width minus 1, and a random number here for the current y based on the client height minus 1. 0 to client height minus 1. So that's the number range that it will return. Okay. Well, we're not done yet. Okay. So now, let's display a message on the screen. So here, let's put in a variable. Is it a variable? Yes. The variable is called message. It's a string. And down here, we're going to set message. We're going to create a message. And it's the format. And the format of our message is 2 decimal integers separated by a comma. And it's going to be equal to the current x. Oops, I make that a capital X. And it's going to be the current y, just like that. And then we're going to do a draw text. And we're going to pass it zeros and the message. So in the middle of our screen, it's going to display the current starting position, and since we don't want randomize to happen again, we're going to set randomize to true at this point, saying yes, we are We've been randomized. So say true. And now once we've done that, we're going to say we got to set, okay, yeah. We're going to do paint it. Now we got to paint our screen. Okay, so now we're going to paint, we're going to start painting. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start painting. Okay, at this point. We don't have a procedure to do that yet. And we also want to set drawing. We want to set drawing to true because now we are going to be drawing. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to start painting. So we're just going to call this, we're going to call this procedure we haven't written yet. We're going to call it paint it. Okay. Now, if we're not drawing, we flip drawing to true, right? However, if we are drawing, in other words, we currently are drawing, that what we want to do is say drawing is equal to false. We want to switch it off. Good. Okay, so then the next thing we got to do is we got to write paint it. We referenced paint it. Now we got to make it happen. So back up here, we need a paint it procedure. And it's going to be called paint it. Like that. It has no parameters. Okay, and so now down here, we need to paint it. Let's see, are these in alphabetical order? Form, click. They're really not, are they? I like things in alphabetical order. So we're going to take all of this and we're going to move it to the bottom here. That. All right. And form click. That should come right after draw. That. Okay. All right, so we got draw text, form click, timer. Good. So paint it is going to be before timer. So here's our procedure, and it's a T-form 1 procedure, and it's called paint it. It has a beginning and an end. Paint it has an infinite loop. It's a while loop. So it's going to say while drawing, right, do begin. And then in this loop, the first thing it's going to do is at the top of the loop, it's going to change colors. With canvas, do begin. And I think I can say with canvas dot, we're going to be dealing with the pen. That's the color that we're going to be playing with here, right? So we've got color equals, and we're just going to call a function. It's going to be called change color, and it doesn't take any parameters. Okay, and now we're going to change the pen width, canvas pen width. So we're going to pick width, and we'll calculate it right here. So we're going to have a random number, and it's going to be the maximum segment, which we had set. Remember, we got rid of those magic numbers. Okay. Okay. And now we want to draw segments. Okay. Right. Now we want to draw some segments. So we're going to have a little for loop. And it's going to be a random loop length. This. So we're going to generate a random number up to maximum segment minus 1. This is wrong. We have pen size, not segment size. Same here. Good thing I caught that. That could have been a mess. Okay. All right. Now, got another new procedure. It's going to be called draw segment. We're really making a lot of use of our random number generator. And then we say so if for some reason drawing got set to false, we're going to break this loop. Okay. All right. All right. I think we have to do one other thing. We have to process application messages. Okay, so this while loop is looping like crazy, and this for loop is looping very quickly, and it's occupying all the time continuously. So there's no current way if I want to stop painting and I click on the form, remember when we click on the form, it either toggles drawing on or off. Well, if I click on the form while these loops are running, it's never going to see it. There's no room for a window control event to trigger, because these loops are occupying all of the time. So we have to force a point within this loop where application messages, Windows messages, are processed. Okay? And you do that with the application dot process messages right there. And I'm going to actually do that in two places. We've done it here once inside of the for loop. I'm going to make a copy and insert it once right here in the while loop. So in either of these loops, it will process application messages at these points and give us a chance to handle any other Windows events on the form. That's what the purpose of this is. Okay. Now we have a few other procedures to write. One of them is change color. So we got to come back up here. Now this is going to be a function. So we have the function change color. And it's going to return type T color. Okay. Now we got to come back down here and write that procedure, and we're going to make it alphabetically in this list. So we're going to have function, and it's a member of T form, right? We made it a member of T form 1, and it's called change color, and the type is T color, just like that. Okay, and here we go. So this function will have some variables, and we're going to call them, they're going to be bite-size numbers. There's red, green, and blue. These are the three primary colors upon which all the screen colors are going to be based. And it's a type byte, 8-bit number. Okay. And now we're going to create them. So we're going to have red. It's going to be set equal to a random number, and the number is 256. So 0 is black, and 255, now remember, a random number is going to be one less than this number. So the range will be from 0 to 255, which is exactly what we want. And that number will indicate how bright the red is. So now we're going to have green. And it's random. In fact, it's random just like the previous one. All right. And then we're going to have, gonna copy this. And then we're going to have blue, like that. Not blues. There we go. All right, and blue. Now we have to return a color. So that's going to be change color is going to be set equal to, and then we're going to use the free Pascal supplied function, which is RGB to color. And then we just pass it the primary colors. And that's our function. Okay, just like that. And that's it. So that's change color. And now we have to have, what was the other function we called? It's draw segment, right? So now we have draw segment. We have to create that procedure, right? Yes, it does. It's a procedure. It doesn't return any numbers or anything. Yes. Draw segment. And come down here. It's going to come before draw text. And so now we have procedure T-form 1, draw segment. That. All right. It's going to have some variables. And they are X, Y, those are integers. Okay. Okay. We have these random, we have the random starting point. That was computed when we clicked on when we clicked on the form, yeah. Right here, when we clicked on the form, we set up a random position in the client. Okay? So that's our starting position. So now what we're going to do is we're going to calculate a position that is based off of that. So now we're going to have X is going to be set equal to the current X position plus some new offset where we're going to draw the line to. Right? So we're going to have a random number again. And it'll be between 0 and 8. So that's 9 plus, no, I'm sorry, not plus, minus 4. So if it comes up with a random number of 0, it'll have a negative 4. If it comes up with a random number of 8, it'll have a positive 4. See how that works? We're going to do the same for Y. Exactly the same. So let's just take this and grab it and let's copy it down here. Right here. Except instead of this being current X, of course, it's going to be a current Y. Right? Then what's it going to do? Well, it's possible that if we were at a current X of 0 on the screen, and we add a -4 to it, then we're going to end up with a negative integer, and that's off the edge of the screen, and we can't have that, right? So we're going to fix negative x or y coordinates. That's what we're going to do next. And at this point, we're going to say, we're going to do them individually. So we're going to say if x is less than 0, then we're just going to say x is equal to 0. All right, and we've got to learn to spell then. And we want to indent that. All right. And we're going to have an else if. What if x is greater than? So if it was a +4, and we're currently at the edge of the client window, we would exceed the width of the window. So we want to stop that too. So we will say if x is greater than the client width, then x will get set equal to the client width, like that. Okay, and that takes care of the x's. Now we've got to take care of the y's in the similar manner. So basically, you just take all this and copy it on the clipboard. Now copy it onto the form and just change these variable names. Except for this. That's going to be client height now. This is y. This is client height. That. And I think that takes care of it. Oh. Since we're drawing the segment, we now have to draw it. We fixed the parameters. Okay. Now we're going to draw the segment. And so we just do canvas. We want a line. This is the line. And the line gets drawn from the current x and the current y to the new x and y positions. Right? That's how that works. And then once the line is drawn, now we have to update the current coordinate. So we just say current x is equal to x and the current y is equal to y. Yes, and that takes care of that procedure. That's the end of that procedure. So we did draw segment, we got change color, we have paint it. All right, I think we have everything we need. Let's save everything. Let's build it. current X and Y. Oh, for goodness sake. It's pretty simple, actually. These, the parameter list going to format has to be enclosed in brackets like that. My mishtuk. Let's see if we build now. Okay. Oh, I never declared. Okay, this is complaining. I never declared the variable I. That's easy to fix. That. Save it and see how we go now. Let's try building it. Ah, it looks like we got a clean build now. Okay. Let's run it. All right. It's displayed canvas text. If I click on it, we should start drawing on it. Look at that. If I click on it, it should stop. It does. And let's let it run and see if I can click on the close button to get it to close. Ah, it's not processing that close. Let me click here. Okay. Do you see what happened there? Let's run it again. When I clicked on this, it didn't stop. But it put the message in the queue. So when I clicked on the form, it processed the messages and it picked up that close request in the queue and closed it. Let's do that again. It's drawing. I click on the close. It does not close. But as soon as I click on here, it closed. Interesting, huh? Now I wonder what happens if I change the size of the form while it's running. Let's see what happens now. Okay, the form comes up. Now if I change the size of the form, you'll see that our canvas text displayed text here disappeared. That's because this canvas is getting cleared. As I drag it, it's getting cleared. Now if I had an object on this form and I drag it, it doesn't get cleared because it's repainted on the on paint event. It's repainted. So that's that. Now if I click on the form, it displayed the canvas size right here. It got painted over very quickly. Let me, okay. It puts it here and then it starts painting and it starts painting over it. But you recall, we had it when it was clicked, paint that on the screen. See, it did it again. Let's do it again. Hey. All right. Why does that keep changing the number though? Oh, that's the random. Okay, this is the random point at which it started, which is right here. That's what that number is. It's showing us the random X, Y coordinate when the painting starts. All right. Well, now, what happens we're on the form, we're on properties, go to the bottom here. What happens if we have this form maximize on startup? Save that. Let's run it. There we go. Now let's run it. And I'm going to let this run a while, and that's it for the day. So if you guys found this little demonstration of using the form canvas interesting, or you just like watching me fumble my way through code, please give me a like. And if you like this content and want to see more of it, please subscribe. Have a great day.